Alright, what's up guys? We're doing a short little late night video here because I can't actually do them. And more of a appreciation style video because Cannibal Corpse, they're getting old, okay? I love Cannibal Corpse. I'm seeing Cannibal Corpse live in October. Paul's one of my favorite drummers. So I make this with the goal in mind for hopefully some people to open up their minds as well and show a little more appreciation to what we have right now. And what I'm talking about is the fact that mainly the drummer, I think everyone else is, they're still hanging in there. But the drummer Paul is obviously, he's getting old and it's respectable. I mean, they've written some of the most well-known death metal songs in the world. He has nothing to prove. In fact, they could have hung it up before Blood Blind and everything would have been a-okay. Like, they've had a long career with, I mean, any band with over 10 albums, if they say, we're going to hang it up, we've been doing this for a while, that's a valid reason to hang it up. But Cannibal Corpse kept going, that's why I have such a massive respect for Paul, because he's been doing this for fucking, who knows how long. But he is starting to struggle a little bit with this song, mainly being one of them, and a lot of songs, in fact, more so this year than last year. Last year, when I saw him live, he was a little bit better in shape, but this is a new concert. He should have had a little bit of rest since the last tour, and he obviously gets the intro kicks perfectly fine. Those are. This is. I could play this in time. Let's just put it like that. Here. You can hear Arlie on the first. Because it's down. It's not a hard beat to play if you keep in shape. And I don't know if you've seen this guy. I'm pretty sure, except for maybe Alex and Eric, I'm pretty sure just about everyone in the band are, not to disrespect them, but they're not in shape. I mean, Corpse Grinder, he's a fucking monolith, He probably does hit the gym somewhat to keep his arms strong, but other than that, I mean, he's eating good. Let's just put it like that. And Paul's not an excuse for that either. I mean, I know it's like vegetarian or vegan, but that doesn't mean you can't be, not in shape. You can still be eating too much for your own good and working out too little for your own good. And I think it shows a lot that this prolonged life of not being in shape is finally starting to catch up to Paul, at least. The others, I mean, Alex Webster is pretty easy to point out as well. He's still very clean on the hands. He doesn't mess up live at all. But if you pay close attention to his performance, he's kind of like a stiff, like one of those Japanese cat toys that waves like this, but instead it's his body like this. He's kind of just like stiffly headbanging along to the song, so you can tell he's definitely, his back's definitely not holding up like it did in the 90s. I mean, you can't really ask him that. It's again, I'm not saying this to trash him. In fact, I don't even think it's necessarily a bad thing that he's not nailing these kicks perfectly how they were on the album in 2000 fucking, I think it's just mainly the reason I make this video is to hopefully open up some eyes that these guys are fucking, I mean, they're getting fucking old. I mean, Morbid Angel, Trey Asictov, they're all in either approaching or in their 60s. Trey's one of the oldest guys in death metal. Literally, if we're talking like big big names that are worth mentioning, Trey's one of the oldest. In fact, you want to know who's the oldest death metal guitarist slash vocalist? Literally, like the oldest death metal guy that's in a notable band worth talking about is literally Carl Sanders of Nile. He's older than Jeff Becerra. He was older than everyone. Everyone you can mention. Jeff Becerra, Glenn Benton, Trey Asictov, Pete Sandoval, David Vincent, Max Cavalera for the early Sepultura. He's older than all these guys that Chuck Schuldiner he would have been older than as well. He's older than all these guys, and he's still killing it and ripping through these super technical riffs and super technical solos even. I mean, to me, Carl Sanders is the most impressive musician in any respectable death metal band of today, because he's kept his skills practiced despite getting, I mean, he's fucking farting dust at this point. I mean, it's like he's getting to old folks home kind of ages. You gotta realize, these guys are not gonna be around for much longer. I think Corpse Grinder in J-Dog's interview said 10 years. It's getting believable that 10 years might actually be, that might be it. Cannibal Corpse might call it quits in 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised. And also, I would literally shake their hand if they did it, because again, I'd rather the band ends on a good note than something like like a terrible injury. You know, for example, Nick Mensa was the drummer for Megadeth. He was one of my favorite drummers, you know, because growing up, I was much more into Megadeth than I am now. Now, Rust in Peace is like one of the most overrated albums, but I still, you know, I have respect for Nick Mensa as a drummer. His drum beats, fucking stellar, you know. He literally died on stage. You know, he wasn't even that old when he died. So, that's why I'm saying this is more so a video, just hopefully, you know, we can have like an appreciation thread in the comments, just like talking about our how about this? Let's talk about our favorite moments with the legendary death metal bands like Deicide, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse. I know I'm drawing blanks. Possessed. Literally in a wheelchair. So, you know, I really am only naming 4 so far. Like, I mean, more. What the fuck? What's going on with my brain right now? They're not necessarily getting in the 60s yet. I think they're approaching or in their early 50s, but Dying Fetus, you know. We should really start, you know, thinking about appreciating that they're still here to begin with, rather than worrying about who's better, Chris Barnes or Corpse Grinder. I honestly, that's the least interesting conversation for me, because I love both the same. They both bring different elements to the band that I think are worth listening to. I can honestly say I have no preference between the two vocalists or between the two eras. Now, yes, the first 4 albums are much more interesting to listen to than, what was the album? Not a lot of the recent ones, but like the one before Bloodblind. What was it called? I'm drawing a blank. My favorite song was Inhumane Harvest. That album is Violence Unimagined. Yeah, that was probably their least memorable album for a long time, you know. In fact, that's objectively, to me, that's the least memorable album for me. And I own it on vinyl because I love the song Inhumane Harvest. I love it. It's one of my favorite songs they did. But the rest is kind of you can tell they're getting old. But Bloodblind, you know, we saw Eric Rutten writing more. I love the way Eric Rutten writes, because he's still a young buck, you know, in the sense of this scale at least. I mean, Eric is probably still in his 50s, you know, but he's at least in shape in his skills. But let's talk, see if we have anything else to add before I end this video and wrap it up. This one's really good, by the way. I know he's saying the words, but right here it just sounds like he's going da 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 da. It sounds like he forgot the lyrics. And it's funny because if you listen to the album version, you can hear every word he says. That's I guess another funny thing, but I don't. That's like more the sound quality not being that great on this upload. Like, yes, you can hear the triggers and the guitar and the vocals pretty clearly, but if you had a like direct monitor fucking recording of this, like from the like, the direct signal of the band, like if we heard what was going through the PAs from the board, it would sound so much better. You would be able to hear what he's saying. So yeah, it's just another funny thing. But he's still my favorite part is, despite not being able to keep up with the kicks, his hands are what actually pulls it together. The kicks can be slop central, but he keeps pocket with, again, it's literally just, but with the kicks under, but his hands are tight, his hands are still tight, which I think is actually the most important part and what actually makes Cannibal Corpse live even worth seeing. Still, the fact that he can pull off not being able to keep up with his old drumming by just keeping his hands in time, because that helps a lot with the hi-hat. And as much as I wish he was doing better on live shows than he does, I think it's still, it has its own charm. It has its place, even, I would say, this kind of more sloppy feel. I think it actually, if I were to see him live and it has this like drunk sloppy feel that it has right here, it still sounds like pretty fucking great. In my opinion, it adds a layer of rawness that I have to appreciate, because this is something we don't hear much in modern metal, because everyone just edits the shit out of their drums, no matter how sloppy they are. They could be the worst drummer live, but they're gonna time correct every single kick hit. I'm okay with using triggers, but God, for fuck's sake, do not edit your drum takes. If you edit your drum takes, you're a poser. Just straight up, if you even slightly quantize anything of the drums, guitars, I don't care what it is, you're allowed to punch in parts, like, as in, like, oh, I messed up that part, let me punch it in, you're still playing the part, but you should be able to play the song in full. I don't care if it's a little sloppy when you play live, it's not as perfect that you just got it in the studio because you did 50 takes, as long as you don't pitch perfect edit your drums, I'm fine with it. If it's a little sloppy live, and in this case, it's a lot sloppy live, but it sounds great, actually, in a sense, because of it's like a raw fucking slop, It's not that kind of slop where it's like, Lars, let's take an easy example. Lars Ulrich. People are like, oh, no, it's not actually. He's good, but he doesn't have a good slop, It's like getting gas station head from a lot lizard, it's not good. This one's Paul's slop is kind of more like it's like a lot lizard, but at a Denny's, it's at a nice parking lot, a high-end lot lizard head. That's a nice sloppy. You're not gonna get herpes. You're not gonna get AIDS. It's $50 in, and then you might even take her to the Denny's and order steaks. Because she's fine. She's just on the streets for now because her parents kicked her out and shit. That's kind of what, like, the slop we're talking here. It's a nice prostitute, essentially. So yeah, only at Suicidal Ground do you get these analogies. Anyways, let's just put it like this. While they are still here, we need to appreciate these old guys who helped pioneer these brutal genres of music that we love. Even if you hate Cannibal Corpse, You need to appreciate the fact that these guys probably influenced some band that you like. You know, I already can tell you, if you like Opeth, I know their main influence is Morbid Angel in terms of like death metal bands and Dissection. But if you ask Mikael Åkerfeldt if he was influenced by Cannibal Corpse, fuck yeah, dude. I loved those guys when I was, a kid, when I was a teenager. That's exactly what he'll tell you. Same with Tobias Forge of Ghost. I don't love Ghost. They have like a couple songs that are pretty cool. It's more like, old school Sabbath tribute. But that guy was in death metal band. He basically just stopped playing death metal because of the fact it wasn't profitable, which is, I know, kind of poser, but it's understandable. That's why he did Ghost, because it's just more profitable to play traditional heavy metal, like early kind of rock and roll sound than this heavy shit. But he definitely was into the fucking Cannibal Corpse, I wouldn't even be surprised if that guy slams the tish on his fucking player at home. But, what I'm trying to get across, whether it's Morbid Angel, Massacre even, who else? Grave, Dismember. We gotta start appreciating that these fucking old heads, old guys, fucking farts, basically are falling apart on stage just for us to enjoy some goddamn live music. I was Suicide Grind. This has been me making a well-deserved appreciation vid for Paul. You're still doing great on the drums, but hey, we're all gonna fucking die sometime. Peace.